For those of you who are standing, there's still plenty of seats up here in the front and off on the side if you want to have a seat. You guys are in the obstructed view seats. You may have a little trouble seeing across. Okay. I think we're ready. Yep. Good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the 2014-15 school year. We have a group of students up front. First of all, we had a great group of students who were performing for us down in the cafeteria. We have another group here up on stage who are excited to sing a couple songs for you, so we'll turn it over to them.
Sing Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remain standing for America the Beautiful.
Good morning again, everyone. Special thank you to our music department this morning for their dedication to our students and for their willingness to come back a couple days earlier than the rest of us and help them prepare for the singing and the playing that they did for you this morning. Special thanks to Dr. Goodnight and her whole department, Kim Jakes, Ralph Patterson, Kristen Luddy, Sarah Gothers, Richard Sullivan, Jennifer St. Sever, Dan Duran, and Mark Rapucci. Thank you to you guys for coming in early and working with us. And of course, a special thanks to our students who came in and worked with and performed for you. And they'll be back a little later. I also want to thank our Board of Education for their continued support and for sponsoring the breakfast this morning. They did a wonderful job, and they're looking forward to working with us as we go through another school year. We're going to start this morning by taking a look back at some of the successes we had from last year. In terms of full-day kindergarten, our student performance data speaks for itself. Take a look at the differences in the scores that were reported at the end of last year from our half-day kindergarten in 2013 to our full-day kindergarten in 2014. And these are just the quantitative measures. We know they're up, but the information we've heard throughout the school year from our kindergarten teachers was amazing. They were telling us that they were moving faster and kids were adapting better, and they really feel that they're better prepared for first grade. And we're looking forward to the first couple months of this school year to hear from our first grade teachers, to get their reaction on what students who've had a full day of kindergarten look like compared to what they've experienced in the past. Great job, everyone. We just completed the first year of our 3-year partnership with LEGO. And NBC 30 came out at the end of the year and did a special report on it. This is what they shared for us.
These 4th grade students at Prudence Crandall Elementary School in Enfield look like they're playing around with Legos. But they're actually through a multi-year partnership with the Toy Maker, which has its North American headquarters in Enfield.
We work closely with our friends at LEGO, and they have donated the product, computers that support many of the products, as well as a full-time educational advisor.
Are going to have what with them?
Students in Andrew Duperre's class are writing essays about key figures in American history. First by building a Lego model, then by using that model as the inspiration for their words.
The greatest Americans of all time.
In my 10 years teaching, I've never seen as much excitement to write as I have this year.
David Lima wanted to learn more about Neil Armstrong.
I have a visual of it, and I can see what I'm doing.
You need this one?
Madison Veyu about Thomas Jefferson.
It helps me with my writing, and it helps me put more details into my writing, and it helps me be more creative.
These special Legos are designed just for educational purposes.
8 minutes to build?
With lesson plans specifically created by educators.
Great example.
To foster collaboration around curriculum objectives.
We know through a lot of research and studies that have been done that there's true educational benefits, that children are able to express themselves, are able to get hands-on, and they're able to have a different outlet rather than just writing down or doing straight math.
And by the end of this 3-year pilot program, all of Crandall students will have completed a Lego class with the goal of expanding the program throughout Connecticut in the future. In Enfield, Todd Pyro, NBC Connecticut News.
Last year, the Enfield Public Schools earned a place on the Advanced Placement Honor Roll. Only 477 schools in the United States and Canada were placed on this honor roll, and only 18 in the state of Connecticut. We received a place on this because we increased the number of our students taking AP classes, and we increased the scores that our students earned when taking those classes. And we have a problem. Our Chief Academic Officer, Ann McKernan, came to me and said, we have a problem with the budget. So we didn't budget for more AP textbooks and instructional materials. Because what we found is, going into this school year, we have even more students enrolled in AP classes. That's a great problem to have. I'll take those problems any day. Our Rachel's Challenge program continues to gain momentum and produce acts of kindness within our schools and all across our community. Over 300 students participated in the Friends of Rachel program last year. 800 people attended the pancake breakfast, and over 2,000 people attended the Kindness Carnival at Fermi High. And our athletes continue to impress us on the fields. We had 52 all-conference athletes, 17 all-state athletes, 5 academic, all-state student athletes. We had a state champion. We also had one of our coaches, Cookie Bromwich, get elected into the National High School Coaches Hall of Fame. And right here at JFK, we have 11 programs and over 250 students participating. Our athletic program is growing and stronger every day. Our Buzz Robotics program just completed their 20th year in partnership with United Technologies Aerospace Division. They were quarterfinalists in the 3 Connecticut competitions this year. They were quarterfinalists at the Boston Regional Competition, and they were finalists at the World Championships in St. Louis. They also earned the Excellence in Engineering Award. Our student musicians that we've just seen continue to excel wherever they go. The JFK Orchestra played at Mechanics Hall in Worcester, and the Fermi Band played at the Memorial Day Parade in our national capital. Our fine arts students continue to impress us as well. We're privileged over at Barnard to have our halls and tables decorated with work done by our students. People come in throughout the year and are constantly impressed. The first thing they do when they sit in my office is look at the artwork that's there. 11 of our graduates are going on to universities and colleges to study art. 9 will receive scholarships. 2 of our students received the Enfield Rotary Club Award, and 9 other students got Scholastic Arts Awards last year. So we've done a fantastic job. We have a lot to be proud of. Yet we continue to feel the impact of so many outside factors that challenge us as professional educators. Every day we work tirelessly to meet these challenges and provide outstanding learning opportunities for our students. But we're feeling the impact of lots of things beyond our control. We have a new educator evaluation system. This year we will go with full implementation. All certified employees will work under this system. We thank the members of the committee that worked here in Enfield to design a system specifically for us. And we're confident that the work that they have done is going to be valuable to us to grow as professionals. We are adjusting, adapting, and creatively implementing Connecticut core standards. We've done a lot of work. We've aligned our ELA and math curriculum. We've trained our core teachers. We've adopted a new writing program. We've created new district interim assessments. We've piloted the Smarter Balance assessments. And we're beginning to get the value from Performance Plus, our integrated data warehouse. And we'll continue to do this work because we believe it's going to make a difference for our children. No other profession in this country has been debated as much as public education. The debate is raging on nationally, locally, on the news and print material, and it certainly will intensify leading up to the election in November. A couple things are certain. In Connecticut, we will get a new Commissioner of Education before the end of the school year. We may have a new governor. We're going to have a gubernatorial election, and you can be rest assured that education in our profession will be something those folks will talk about. Regardless of all those changes and what everyone says, our charge remains the same. It's student learning. And this is hard work. And we have to remain committed to unleashing the potential of every child. We continue to need to learn what works best for each child. We continue to need to learn what works best for us and learn from each other. And we'll continue to support each other through all these various changes. And you see here, over the next couple of years, there's going to be some changes. One of those changes has brought us to JFK today. We're in the middle, or the beginning, actually, of the renovation of Enfield High School. And we're going to feel the impact of that for the next couple of years. This timeline, although it seems to be changing rapidly, kind of outlines where we are. Everything to the left of the first black line is this summer. We saw the steam wing starting to be built. And then in the large space there, the 14-15, you see what's going to happen during this school year. The steam wing will be in construction, and we'll be starting the construction on the new cafeteria addition and the health rooms and the physical education facility. Towards the end of the year, we'll start to do the work on gymnasium, the locker room renovation, and the lower part of A wing. Over next summer, all 4 of those projects will be moving forward. Going into next school year, we'll be taking down D wing. The lobby addition out in front there will be redone. Upper floors in A and B. Towards the end of next school year, the music addition. and the auditorium renovation. And then right there, in September of 2016, all students in high school in Enfield will move into that facility. And you can see the construction won't be finished. They're going to continue to feel the impact probably right up until January or February of 2017. And it probably means that we're going to meet here a couple more times before we're able to go over and enjoy the brand new facility. But a lot of changes have already taken place. Here's what's been going on at Enfield High School this summer. A lot of work. We continue to look forward to our vision of a world-class high school very soon that will look something like this. We have some special guests here with us this morning, and unfortunately our first one brings greetings from the Board of Education, but our chairman, Tom Serrard, was called away unexpectedly and unable to be with us this morning. But he wants to share with you that the board and he are looking forward to another great year, and they know that we are going to do the best we can and prepare our students for everything that they need as they move forward. Our second speaker this morning is Mayor Kopin, and he is here to bring greetings from the town. Mayor Kopin, thanks for being here.
Good morning, everyone. Dr. Schuman, thank you very much for the invitation to be here once again at your first session, your convocation. I think this is my third, and I really appreciate the opportunity to come and spend a couple minutes. To me, the most valuable piece was watching your accomplishments from the last school year. Amazing, amazing accomplishments that you all should be very proud of. Some of those were visions just a couple years ago, and the school system and the community banded together. And I look at All Day K, and to see the progress that was made. And I know I was a big supporter of it. We all worked together, and we found a way to make it happen. And you're starting to see the results. It'll be interesting to see the results that the first grade teachers report next week when you get the kids for the first time. So a lot of exciting events happening in the school system. Last year I came before you, and if my memory serves me right, I talked about 3 major initiatives. One was Enfield High School, that the community again got together and passed a referendum, and at that point in time, it was just some blueprints that were drawn a year ago, and we see the progress that has been made. The second item I spoke about was the Suicide Prevention Steering Committee that joined, that was formed to combat or to address a problem a couple years ago in our community. And the third was the implementation of a new school security plan. So as you saw by the presentation, I didn't know we'd see pictures, and I haven't been down there in quite a while, so it's great to see the Enfield High School construction moving along. Our building committee, residents and staff, really worked hard over the last year to bring it to the point that it is today. We know as a town that there's going to be a lot of disruption, especially for the folks at Enfield High School. We want to hear your feedback. As community leaders, we want to understand what that project is impacting or how it's impacting the school system, especially at Enfield High School. So please provide your feedback to us. We want to make sure that the delivery of the educational process to the students at Enfield High School is disrupted as least as possible. The Suicide Prevention Steering Committee really focused the last year on 3 major components: training both school system and town of Enfield staff, the student involvement. You all saw the successes of Rachel's Challenge last year, and community involvement, bringing different organizations into the process as well, because we know that the root cause of suicide really is a community cause. This year, we've already met, and we said, all right, we've had some successes the past couple of years. How do we retain those successes and begin to build on them and address additional concerns? So the group met a couple weeks ago. We'll be tackling the broader scope of mental health issues that we have within our community. And also bringing the efforts to the younger ages. Already with Kite, Dr. Schuman and myself, we visited some pediatricians in town to get their support so that they can begin to identify and address needs at the very youngest of ages. So we look forward to an expanded role for the group and to continue our successes, but also to expand them. And again, we want to hear from you. Are our efforts in the school system working to combat that wide range of mental health issues that we're all facing as a community? The third area was school security. Pretty controversial a year ago. Started with a school security officer program, armed guards in our schools. I want to hear from you. This coming year is our year to analyze. We promised that it would be a 2-year program. Take the first year to implement. We have to harden the schools, and we know that process is still underway. And we have our SSOs. What do you think? Has the climate improved in the school system? Are you more able to teach than have to worry about security issues? And most importantly, what still needs to be done? You're on the front lines day to day. What haven't we addressed that we need to address as both a town and a school system? Every new year brings something new and exciting, and I tell you, the Board of Education and the Town Council have committed to work together in some areas over the coming year. Joint committees are being formed. The first has already been formed, and that's a joint committee on information technology. They've held a couple meetings already. Technology changes every day. How do we stay in front of it? How do we fund it? What are our priorities for both the town and the school system? They are linked together because in the end, we all have to pay for it and we have to have the resources to support it. So you should see some action through that joint committee. We're also looking into joint committees on human resources. We've got a lot of employees on both the town side and the school side. How can we work together to improve upon the processes, the benefits that you all receive as employees, how we treat employees on both the town and the school side? And we also know that our infrastructure here, we'll have a great new high school, but we also have a lot of buildings that need a lot of substantial work. Roofs, windows, how do we make a school more energy efficient to drive the cost down just to open up the school and be able to reallocate those resources to more important things like the delivery of education. Through all the reorganization, you see that the Stowe School has become available. And I think it's pretty exciting that eventually we'll be opening an early childhood learning center at Stowe School, bringing resources for the town and the schools together into one building. It's a vision that Dr. Schumann had when he first came to Enfield, and it's great that we have that opportunity now to work collaboratively at Stowe for that early childhood learning center. And finally, my third issue is, again, through all of this reorganization, in a couple years, Fermi High School will be an available building. The board needs to make a decision, will that school or will that building remain a school, and that's a possibility, or will that building be turned over to the town? The town's committed, no matter what the decision is, to support the board's initiative. So if it is retained as a school, we know we have work to do there. We know we'd have to go out to referendum. We know we'd have to get voter approval for the enhancements. But the town's ready, willing, and able to take those steps needed to have the decisions made. If the board decides to turn it over to the town, there are already plans, conceptual plans, that building can be used for the good of the community as a potential community center library, but it will still remain a building that is accessible to the school system because of what is there, the fields, the meeting space, an idea that every PTO should have their own meeting space within the school. So whether it remains a school or a community center, it will still hold a vital role and become an integral part of the school system. Finally, from me personally to all of you, thank you for all that you do. First day back, I know as I was sitting there, I was drifting back to where I was a week ago, and I'm sure you all were as well. I was on a beach in Wellfleet, Massachusetts, and I'll probably continue to do that over the coming week. But thank you for all that you do. Day one, but I know your commitment didn't stop at the last day of school last year. You continued to think about what are you going to do this coming year? How can I make it a more successful year than in the past? And you have a long haul in front of you. What, 180 days? Weekends, nights. My mom was a teacher. I know your day is not when the school bell rings, open and close. Your day starts early and your day goes long into the night on plans and over weekends. So I really appreciate all you do for our kids here in town and for our educational system. And your hard work and your dedication shows in the results that were shown up on stage during Dr. Schumann's presentation. So I thank you and I wish you the best for a successful 2014-2015 school year. And please, if you have some concerns and that I can help address them, my email address, you can find it. My number's in the phone book. Please reach out, get in touch with myself or any member of the council. We want to help make sure that this year is successful for you all. Thank you all very much for the opportunity to speak to you this morning.
Thank you, Mayor Copen. Excellent words. Now to bring greetings from the Enfield Teachers Association, President Todd Kuchar.
Wow, this is the biggest audience I've ever spoken to in my entire life. I gotta be honest with you, I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm gonna do the best that I can. Before I say a few words today, I do want to acknowledge members of the ETA Executive Board. And if you can kindly hold your applause to the end, I would appreciate it. At PR&R Chair, we have Bruce Hargraves, Middle School Vice President, Mary DeRozier, Executive Vice President, Georgie Ann O'Connor, High School Vice President, Kelly Mazzone, Elementary Vice President, Sue Marinaccio, a representative with fewer than 7 years, Emily Holovich, Elementary Rep from the floor, Karen Slattery, Secretary, Kim Sweeney, Treasurer, Andrew DePere, Membership Chair, Beth Radkovich, Past President, Gray Wanzer, and CA Uniserv Rep, Joe Zabinski. So if you could give them a round of applause. Today I want to talk to you about 5 main things. Number 1, who we are, what in fact makes Enfield such a great place for both students and for teachers. I want you to be proud to be a member of the ETA. I want you to know specifically what the ETA is working on, and I want to tell you where we go from here. Now, the first thing is, who are the teachers in Enfield? Well, number 1, we are devoted. Anybody have an idea as to what 6,664 may mean? 6,664. That's the number of years teachers in this room have devoted to kids in the town of Enfield. 6,664 years. It's an average of about 14 years per person. Now that clearly shows how devoted we are. Now, the last convocation that Mr. Wanzer gave, he did something I thought was great. He asked people to stand up if you either went through the Enfield public school system or you currently live in Enfield. So if you could kindly stand up if you live in Enfield or went through the Enfield public school system. Amazing. And I'm standing because I'm one of those people as well. Okay. What Enfield does a lot of things well. But one thing that Enfield does well is it clearly honors its homegrown talent. Clearly, Enfield has hired a majority of the people who actually either went through the school system at one time in their lives as well. Now, Enfield teachers are not only devoted, we're educated as well. Well, of course we have to be educated. But at the last strategic school profile, over 90% of the people in this room have at least a master's degree or an advanced degree. And I could state this as a fact now, we're talented. The middle school teachers and the high school teachers went through the evaluation system. Although I don't have a specific number, there's a very, 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 very small number of people who did not attain a 3 or a 4. So I know it's a hybrid system, I know it was controversial, but the fact is we did exceptionally well, and the reason why we did well is because we're talented. Now, Enfield teachers, as I said, are intelligent, tenacious, and we're thick-skinned. That's evidenced by the fact that we don't let comments sometimes hurt our feelings, and above all, we care about kids. So as I was writing this speech, I wanted to think of a couple stories that shows what teachers do in the town of Enfield. And one story that came to mind was a student who was I could say behaviorally challenged. The student that was difficult to like each and every day, at least his behaviors. And then, sadly, one of his family members passed away. And the mother was going out of town for 3 days. And a teacher heard about this. And the teacher said, you know, I'm not sure if this student's going to be fed well in the 3 days that the mother's not around. So what did the teacher do? The teacher went down to a local pizzeria, paid for 3 pizzas to be delivered on 3 consecutive days so that that student could be fed on the day that the mother was absent. Because that's what an Enfield teacher does. We care about our kids. Another story, this is near and dear to my heart, is there was a kid, special needs kid, who had a lot of issues but well loved. And his one thing he loved more than anything in life is the Boston Red Sox. And before this year, I guess it's good to be a Boston Red Sox fan. Okay? He would wear a Red Sox hat and a sweatshirt and a shirt. And he was a pretty effervescent young guy. But when he would talk about the Red Sox, he would just beam with delight. Well, his one dream was to go see a Red Sox game. So a bunch of teachers got together and said, you know what, let's make this dream come true. So they went and they purchased 2 tickets to the Red Sox, one for his father, one for himself. A teacher called up the father and said, listen, if we do purchase these tickets, will you be able to take your son to the game? And the father said, absolutely. So you think, okay, that's it. But these teachers got together and said, you know what, money's an issue for this family too. It costs a lot of money in gas going back and forth to Boston. What are we going to do? Teachers reached back into their wallet, reached in their purse, collected more money. They got them a mobile gift card so they could pay for gas back and forth. Now, when you go to Fenway Park, you got to have a sausage, peppers, onions. You got to have a Fenway Frank. So this kid had to experience that as well. So there was a local famous eatery around the corner. These teachers collected more money, bought a gift card so the father and son could eat food prior to the game. But then, what do you need when you leave? A souvenir. You need a David Ortiz jersey. Maybe if you go old school, a Jody Reed, Mike Greenwell, Oil Can Boyd. But you need to bring that home with you. So again, more money was collected, and then this student was given money so he could buy a souvenir. Now, these are teachers. Now, I think most of us can think of a similar story at your schools. These are stories that we don't talk about a lot, but know that they happen every day. And why do they happen in Enfield? Because in Enfield, we care about our students. But not only do the students, or not only do the teachers care about the students care about each other. One of the best examples I can think of was this young man who wanted to go to the prom. And he didn't have money for a ticket to the prom, or a tuxedo, or the flower. But a student heard this and he said, hey, you want to go to the prom? The kid goes, yeah, I really would. So without any teacher involvement whatsoever, this student went and talked to other students and they collected all this money. They got him the flower, they got him the tux, they got him the transportation. They did everything possible to make this a special night. The only thing they asked of this kid was, could you please maybe shower prior to the prom? It's the only thing the kids asked. And of course, that didn't work out. And the kids anticipated that wasn't going to work out, so they brought cologne. And they kind of doused him with cologne. But nonetheless, he left, had a great night, and that was something that the kids did without any teacher involvement. Why? Because it shows that, students care about each other as well. I want you to be proud of the ETA. When I was a young kid, my father worked at Sweet Life Foods in Suffield, Connecticut on 159. He was a forklift driver. And he was very, very proud to be part of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, Local 559. He had the hat and the sweatshirt and the jacket and all that stuff. And he was a union steward, and often they would go on strike. And when they would go on strike, that's when we had a lot of macaroni and cheese and hot dogs and things like that. But he would tell me about why he had to go on strike, and he would tell me about collective bargaining and grievances and stuff. And I just remember him being so proud of being a member of that association. And I want you to be proud of the ETA exactly like my father was proud. I also want you to be an active member as well. Before I close today, I want to tell you about a few things that we're working on. The ETA works on a lot of things. I could probably spend 2 hours talking about all the things we're currently working on, but I picked 6 main items. The first one, as Dr. Schumann said, the primary and intermediate schools are having the evaluation system. Now, the evaluation system that they're going to do this year is going to be a transition. It's going to be a difficult transition for them because it was a difficult transition for us. Yes, it worked out in the end, but it was difficult. But we as an association have to help you out. We want to help you out with the SLO and writing IAGDs. We went through it. We could offer some advice that's really going to help you out. Now, the fact is, this might not be the most popular sentiment, but I'll say it anyways. Middle school teachers work exceptionally hard. High school teachers work exceptionally hard. Middle school and high school teachers always say they never have any time alone to kind of think about different things and lessons. Well, I can bet you if you were an elementary teacher, you have even less time than we think, okay? So, elementary teachers work exceptionally hard, and when they need our help, we're going to provide it. The district recently created 3 new positions. We need to watch those 3 positions because those 3 positions may have a direct impact on the evaluation system. So we're going to keep constant tabs on that as well. We need to look at membership. 5 years ago, our membership was 525. Last May, 464. Now, we are so low because of layoffs and through attrition. Now, we have a school consolidation coming forth. If you look online, you'd find out that the estimated number of teachers that would not be employed would be around 20. Now, again, there's been, through attrition, that number might not be as high. We hope it isn't. But we, as the ETA, need to be cognizant of that and try to lessen that to the best degree that we can and keep membership here when we consolidate the schools. The other thing is the new high school is going to have a new schedule. That's fine. The schedule that they come up with, which we haven't really been a part of so much, I plan to be a part of, is we need to make sure that that new schedule comports with what we currently have in our collective bargaining agreement. This year, maybe even as soon as tomorrow, I'm not quite sure, we are going to have professional development surveys done online. And the district would like to do this because it's easier to tally the results, which makes sense. But we as an association said, okay, but you need to have 3 things. One is the survey's got to be the same. And we found out that the survey is the exact same survey we did last year. Surveys have always been anonymous. We had to make sure that the surveys are anonymous. And with the great help of Cindy Anderson, we were able to figure out that by logging in a certain way, which we'll go over later, your surveys for professional development will be kept anonymous. And we need time because not everybody brings their tablet or their laptop, or they're at a different school. They might not be able to fill out the survey. So we were told that we're going to get time in order to complete that survey as well. So just to give you a heads up that that's on the horizon, maybe as soon as this week, but everything should go smoothly, I hope. And as Dr. Schumann said, we're going to have a new educational commissioner. Now, that coincides with the governor race as well, which is no coincidence at all. Now, the fact is that this new person could make sweeping changes that we need to be aware of. Will there be an exit test for each grade? Will there be an exit exam to graduate from high school? Will they do something with the Connecticut core? Will this new person weaken tenure laws like is being done in California? Now, make no mistake about it, we are one of the only professions in which political powers, people in political offices, control what we do. That's why we have this evaluation system. So we need to be aware of who this next person is because it's going to have a direct impact what we do day in and day out. Where do we go from here? I can tell you, I much rather work with kids than adults all day, okay? So, and you got to put that in perspective. My wife obviously works with adults and she comes home with stories and I'm like, thank God I don't have to put up with that kind of stuff, all right? But from time to time, our jobs are pretty frustrating. You know, you come up with the greatest lesson, you think it's a great lesson, you got all your goals, you come in, and it just doesn't work. And you got a behavioral problem here, and you feel, God, I didn't make a difference at all. But then, one day you're walking in the Anfield Square, probably won't recognize any stores at this point in the Anfield Square, but if you went to the Anfield Square, you would, a person's gonna come up to you and say, you know what? I remember having you as a teacher, and you made a difference. Or one day you go to your mailbox, and you're gonna get a letter, and it's gonna be, you know what? I really appreciate everything you've done. Or you're going to go in your inbox, in your email, and someone's going to thank you for everything that you've done. You got to remember seeing that person in the mall. You got to save that email. You got to save that letter. And then when you feel like you're not making a difference, you take that out and you say, yep, I am making a difference. So you might not feel that you are each and every day, but believe me, you are making a difference each and every day. I hope you all have a wonderful school year. I want to thank you for devoting your education, and your exceptional talent to the students of Enfield. You are what, in fact, made Enfield progress. All those statistics on kindergarten, how did that happen? You made it happen, okay? Have a wonderful year, and you are what makes Enfield such a great place to live and to learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Now, would you please welcome our Teacher of the Year, Mary Almeida.
So this button.
I just want to let you know, Todd totally ganked my line. I'm really nervous, but his speech was way funnier than mine, so thanks for setting the stage. As educators approach the start of each year, we must unpack and reorganize not only the physical, but the mental as well. We must shift our understanding of the content to meet the next generation of learners. But our job extends beyond looking at the end-of-year scores or old writing prompts. I want to take a few minutes to consider our students and our impact on their developmental process. How are the implications of our choices influencing their skill set? Are we providing them with the necessary 21st century skills as well as fostering their self-efficacy? As I sat down to score writing prompts last year, I came across this persuasive piece. Do you know Miss Almeida? Well, she's my teacher and she's the best because she's funny. She likes to be sarcastic. This is what she says to be sarcastic. I love the sweet sound of silence. That's what she says to us when we're talking. When we're not talking, she doesn't say that to us. After thinking, dear Lord, that needs to go into her cume folder, I realized that she did give evidence like Lucy Calkins wanted, and her ability to understand sarcasm supports the speaking and listening domain, so take that to the bank, Common Core. We also know that children aren't always forthright with their thinking. Their brutal honesty can manifest itself in many ways. In the case of this picture, I realized that I had had one too many trips to the tanning salon. What both of these illustrate is the concept that it's not the content or the process that leaves an impression on the learner, but the teacher. Sean McComb stated that teaching is an opportunity to band together with others who deny the assumption that demographics determine destiny. How fitting, considering the change that has occurred within our own town. Having grown up in Enfield, I can attest for the physical change, but not the mental. Each day, we continue the legacy of our predecessors caring for the whole learner. During the last week of school, one of my students handed me this note. A teacher's saddest part of their life is when they let them go to second grade. As she gave me a big hug, I found solace in knowing she knew I cared. But if we make a connection with a student, we never truly say goodbye because we take a piece of one another with us wherever we go. This realization was my ultimate reward. It also made me reflect on the many who left a lasting impact on me when I was a student. For me, it was teachers like Mrs. Griffin, who believed in cooperative learning and collaboration before it became common practice, because she truly valued what we had to say and wanted to give us a voice. Santa Gay, who gave the shyest girl the lead in the school play. My 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Crosati, who helped me years later when I thought taking Algebra 2 and geometry at the same time was a good idea. Mr. Bacon, who would take out his guitar and sing to us. Or Mary Hood, who remembers my brother as a bright, creative student when most considered him to be the class itch. Even now, years later, after sharing that with him, a teacher's praise was able to bring a smile to his face. It's moments like these that have gone unchanged within our community. I believe in the Enfield Public Schools, not because of what I learned in a textbook, because truth be told, I'd have trouble conjugating a verb in Spanish and I took it for 5 years. But because the compassion of the teachers has never wavered. First came No Child Left Behind, and now the Common Core, coupled with the TPAC model and ISTE standards. No single framework will be the panacea for educational reform, yet change must occur to accommodate the constant shift in education. Only when done sensibly, with a keen eye focused on minding the gap between new and traditional practices, will we be able to portend the potential of such amendments and allow them to come to fruition. Success is reaped from the interplay of these models in conjunction with the choices we make as educators. However, many of us are approaching these changes with trepidation due to the new teacher evaluation looming overhead. My mantra for education is rather singular: children first, learning second. In an age in which data drives instruction, this may seem like a defunct rule to live by. Our students are more than a data point, and we are more than a number. The content of our character cannot be quantified nor classified on a numerical scale, yet it is the result of our passion for teaching that inspires our students to perform. Not discounting the academic success we help our students achieve, I'd rather acknowledge the outstanding merit of the deeds that aren't written in our contracts or observed for evaluation. To the many who have dug into their pockets to pay for forgotten lunches and field trips, to those who banded together and bought a mattress for a family so they wouldn't have to sleep on the floor, to the science teacher who gave up his lunch to teach organic chemistry to a group of kids who wanted to learn, to those who bring in bag after bag of clothing from their own children so that others will not go without, to the counselor who bought Candyland for a little boy who said that's all he wanted to do on Christmas Day with his family, to the art teacher who gave up her Wednesday afternoons throughout the summer so that she could work with a little girl undergoing treatment for leukemia. Thank you. You are the reason I am proud to say I teach in Enfield. We truly are a community that cares. No number, no sliding scale could place a value on these selfless acts, but they are what make the teachers of Enfield exemplary. It's the culmination of these choices collectively that leave a lasting imprint in the minds of our learners. With the mutual respect, understanding, and unwaning support, students will begin to emulate an excitement for learning. Demographics do not determine one's destiny, but the smallest act can lead to greater ramifications defining who they will later become. I once read that we're conditioned to think that our lives revolve around great moments, but great moments often catch us unaware, beautifully wrapped in what others may consider a small one. Each day, strive to create that moment for someone. What will this year bring? I know that I can't wait to find out. Thank you.
Great job. Great job, Mary. Thank you. You have seen this simple framework before. However, it shows the complexity of our work, and the key component of that work is right in the center, what's called the instructional core. You heard Todd and Mary talk about it. It's the relationship between the student and the teacher and the work they do together. Protecting and enhancing the work done here is crucial. So over the summer, I asked the cabinet to sit with me and think about all the systems and tasks that go on here in the Enfield Public Schools. We charted them out. And we believe that these systems and functions have to be optimized if we're going to be able to put a system in place that will give you the opportunity to teach our students. And we continue to work and refine this and take a look at all these things. They're kind of tough to see, but you'll see it more and more as we go on. But one of the things I wanted to point out was the technology piece, the gold era. Because technology has become such an important part of our lives, and it goes right to the core of who we are. If we took it away, we probably wouldn't function very well. We may not function at all. So it becomes critical. And as we learn how to use it, we have to be cognizant of the fact that the next generation of students who come to us see it in a different way. And they'll continue to see it in a different way. Interesting, this morning in the gym, I was talking with an 80-year-old man. He was talking about buying a new car, and he wanted to get one before it became a computer on wheels. He said, they've taken the fun out of driving. Technology has changed our world. It will continue to change our world. It's fascinating to think about what it is, but it's going to have a huge impact on what we do. Now, the through lines that go to the instructional core, the strategies, these are the goals that we put forward, the things that we think will help us improve the quality of the relationships in that core. Let's take a look at the goals we have for this year. Our first one is to deliver a rigorous curriculum, make sure our students are challenged. And this year we're going to track some metrics to help us understand how well we're doing. We're going to look at quarterly grades below C at the secondary level. We want our students to be successful. We want to know what students are not being successful. We want to try to figure out why that's happening. And how do we need to support those students so that all students can be successful? And we want to look at post-professional learning activities surveys, as Todd talked about. If we're going to have purposeful professional development, something that's going to help you do your job better, help you grow, increase the overall capacity of our workforce, of our faculty, we need to have some purposeful professional development. We also need to know if that's working or not. A lot of you have been in the profession as long as I have. We've sat through some pretty rough professional development days. Days that we probably would have been better having the kids come and working with the kids. And that's our own fault. We design these things and we go forward with them. We need to do better. We need to grow as professionals. We need to cherish that opportunity. We need to hear from you and let us know if we're not. And then we need to design things that are better. We need to ensure that the learning environment is great for all kids. More importantly, we need to make sure the kids come to that learning environment. We have a lot of kids who don't do very well at getting to school on a regular basis. We need to look at those students. We need to reach out to them. We need to put the supports in place to get them into our classrooms. We need to talk to our parents. We need to survey them a little bit more, get their input, find out what makes the connection from the parent to the student and to the teacher, to the classroom, to the school system stronger. So we'll be looking at engaging them, getting feedback from them in October and June. We said before, we need to continue to integrate state-of-the-art technology. It's a challenge. It's expensive, and it's also difficult to get a grasp on. We have a lot of different technology programs. We have ways of tracking how well they're being used, how our students are doing. We'll take a look at that. Maybe the programs we have aren't the ones we need. Maybe we need to change those. Or maybe we need to maximize the use. Maybe we need to train our staff better on how to use these with our students. And we also need to find out from you through those post-PD surveys, what do you need in terms of technology? What do you need in terms of training? We need to continue to enhance our professional capacity, the things that we need to do. We've heard about our evaluation system. That may do it, it may not. We also heard, and we had Todd have you all stand who have been here. We need to look at the folks that we're bringing in. We're bringing in great candidates. We need to ask them why they're coming. What attracts you to come to Enfield? You all heard this morning why you're here. We need to sell that message outside. We want great people coming here. More of our own and more outside people as well. And we need to engage our outside partners so they help us promote and support the Enfield Public Schools. We have a lot of great things going. We're going to look at those. Hopefully we'll build on those. We're also going to get feedback from everyone out there when we send out emails. We have a way to attach a link to every email that goes out from the Enfield Public Schools. Anybody who receives an email from the Enfield Public Schools will have an opportunity to click on that link and give us feedback. Tell us how our school system is doing in terms of meeting their needs. And we'll take that information and we'll adjust as we go forward. So we have some great goals to work for. But let's take a look at some of the specific initiatives that we're going to use to help us get there. Some of these are carryovers from last year and some are brand new. Things like our Listen and Learn, our book club, the World Language Pilot, the Enfield's Early Learning Institute you heard the mayor talk about, the Lego Build Tomorrow project, the JFK Innovation Lab, our collaboration with Isnuntuck, and our continued work to promote STEAM and humanities. Over the last 2 years, we've done 25 Listen and Learn sessions. We've had over 1,400 people come and talk to us. We're going to do 6 more this year, 2 with our students at the high school level, 2 for our staff, 1 for our parents, and we're going to do another one at the community center that I did with the town manager last year. We're going to listen to folks in those 6 sessions. We're going to hear what they have to say to us. We're going to learn from what they tell us. Last 2 years, we've each had a book club. This year, we've chosen a book called Finished Lessons. We met the author in December last year at a conference. They have talked about what has made Finland and South Korea and Singapore so very, very good at what they do. And they presented some interesting approaches to their work that we may be able to learn from. So we're going to read through the Pasi Sahlberg's book, and he has agreed to join with us either by FaceTime or by coming to the district to work with us to talk about the things that are there so we can understand them and we can decide what do we want to incorporate into what we do from what they have. Let's listen to Pasi talk about education.
I have a chance to meet educators and speak to people here in the United States. I always remind them that you have all the innovations, you have everything that it takes here in America to build a great school system. So you don't need to innovate, you don't need to create new ideas anymore, you don't need to travel around the world and look for great ideas because they're all here. The question really is that how you will be able to put these pieces together and move to the next level of creating schools that are really good for each and every child. And that's why I think it's not here in America, it's not only how well and how much you educate teachers or how much you pay them, it's also how does the environment look like where they are asked to perform and do these things with their children. And you know, Finland can serve as one inspiration, but not the only one. You can see the similar types of things in many other countries like Canada and Singapore and even China nowadays. You will see a very different type of teaching profession that may inspire Americans also to think again these learning and teaching and learning conditions in schools.
We may not be able to change what happens in Hartford or Washington, D.C., but we have some control over what goes on in our classrooms here in Enfield. So maybe we can learn some things. We encourage you all to, if you wish, to join the book club this year. We'll send an email out a little later on in September, and we should get that going sometime in December, and hopefully we'll be meeting with Pasi early into 2015. We're going to introduce a world language pilot program this year. One of our goals is to expand our ability for students to study other languages. So we met over the summer with the Middlebury Interactive Language Program and talked to them about what kinds of things they can provide for us. What we're going to try this year, to get this started, we're going to try an exposure of second graders learning Spanish. We're going to try a very special classroom in 7th grade for students learning Spanish. We're going to provide some AP opportunities in French and in Spanish. Now, the Middlebury Interactive Language Program offers a blended learning opportunity, one where classroom teachers are involved and one where online learning is involved and one where you bring them both together. So in some cases, our teachers will be in the classroom utilizing the resources from this language program. And in other cases, our highly motivated learners can go outside and learn some other languages on their own that we may not be able to offer here. And if this program works out, as we hope it will, students will have the opportunity to learn languages like Chinese and German and Arabic and Latin from as early as 2nd grade on. We hope to be able to offer more opportunities for students to learn and resources for our current world language teachers to use to help students learn the languages better. You heard the mayor talk about Stowe School and the Early Learning Institute we want to set up there. We are looking for a place that could house as many as 200 or 300 3- and 4-year-olds on a daily basis. Getting students started in their learning at a very early age, providing the resources that the families need to be successful as well. A place where students can come and learn, and a place where young families can get a foothold on some of the information they need so that they can create an environment that will provide for those students and make them better learners as they go through our system. Some of the things that will be moving in there will be the EPS Integrated Preschool Program, which is currently at Memorial. They'll go in there next September, not this September. We're looking at opening up 2 open choice preschool bilingual classrooms where students from Enfield and Hartford, 3- and 4-year-olds, can work together in a full-day preschool program studying multiple languages. We're looking at moving the Enfield Child Development Center, 15 to 17 classrooms of students, 3- and 4-year-olds in there. We're looking at moving the Family Resource Center from Memorial into Stowe. We're going to establish a preschool and adult library so our young learners can have print material, and their parents also can have print material to help them make decisions. We want to provide a place where parents can make a link to better jobs. We get them, we can run courses right in there for parents when they bring their children so that they can get a step up. And the KITE offices we relocated there because of their great initiatives for moving early childhood education. We're looking forward to bringing this online. It should get started very soon. It's going to expand as we go forward. Over this weekend, you may read about Alice somewhere. Alice. If you do, pay attention. Because Alice is here. And Alice is something that we're going to be working with through this program. We think we can fix that. We're in the second year of our 3-year partnership with LEGO in the Building Tomorrow project. In the first year, we introduced grades 2, 4, and kindergarten. And this year, we're bringing on grades 1, 3, and 5. And our staff has done a wonderful job getting this up and running, providing opportunities for our children now in 6 grades. The program is strong. Everything we've learned from LEGO seems to say they're willing to continue this and actually expand on it as we go forward, if we feel that it's worthwhile. Using a grant of almost $70,000, we're going to build the JFK Innovation Lab. Our goal is to establish a collaborative learning environment for our students similar to what they might find in some of our most creative workspaces. These are some of the ideas of ways students are going to be able to learn. Not quite sure what it's going to look like in total. But this is going to be a place where we can put aside the fear of mistakes, explore the possibility of multiple correct answers, and teach students to be creative and innovative. It's also going to be a place where we can house our first Tech Challenge and our first LEGO League. I want you to take a look at this very short video of a 10-year-old student in Denmark who, after multiple tries, finally gets his robot programmed the way he wants it so it will go out and perform the tasks that he wants it to do. Our students need and deserve the opportunity to experience this kind of learning. In the Innovation Lab, our vision is that that's where they're going to get it. We're also expanding and embracing the wonderful resource we have in the Advanced Manufacturing Program at Nuntuck Community College. We're going to reach down as early as 6th grade and start to explore those opportunities with our students. These are some of the things that are coming online. And notice the last bullet. As Nuntuck has agreed to share their staff with us to help our staff utilize these kinds of resources. So our students right here will get a leg up and an advantage to see some of these things. We continue to move forward with our STEAM vision. This was the class gift from Fermi High last year, the plaque that will go in the Enrico Fermi STEAM wing when it's completed. Our vision is to be a leader in STEAM education. Take a look at what that might entail.
Too fast. Go. 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 So we have several initiatives.
it should provide some great opportunities for both our staff and for our teachers. But the most important work happens right here. This is that relationship, that key relationship that will help us be successful. That relationship between you and your students. This is why we exist. They're why we exist. You may remember this short 15 seconds from last year's convocation.
Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning?
Last spring, we decided to ask all of our employees, all of our elected officials, and any other stakeholders that would share their comments with us to comment on the vision of Enfield Public Schools, the mission of Enfield Public Schools, the spirit, our organizational promises, and our values. We did that through a survey. We got all the data back. We spent the summer looking at it. We looked at it qualitatively, talking about it, looking at all the printouts. We also work with a company up in New Hampshire called EdVisualize. And they have some very specific text analyzation software where they can put it in and it looks for common trends. And it pulls out important words and thoughts and common things that are found in those big text databases. So after going through all that, here's what we learned when we asked you why we exist.
Vision, a world-class school system. Mission, striving to inspire and develop each individual's gifts and talents. Spirit, committed to lifelong learning.
We believe we are dedicated to the growth and development of every student.
We nurture. We partner with families to support and challenge each child.
We collaborate. We learn and grow together. We aspire. We are committed to continuous improvement.
Sharing the love you have for what you do. And I am grateful, and I'll be able to be all that I can be. Ready to learn because I know you'll be there. And
Our values: excellence, creativity, pride.
Integrity, resilience, and kindness.
As you leave this morning, you're going to be handed a card that looks just like the one up on the screen. It's our why card. It's why we exist. Refer to it often. I know you will. You'll also receive a pin. And that pin should be worn proudly, as I know you will, because you are a member of a great school system. We thank you for your time and attention. We thank you for your wonderful performance this morning. And we hope you have a great school year. Thank you. Great job.